Hi, I'm Jen. Welcome to the channel, or welcome back. And this is the second of two videos that I have on the channel about my trip to Egypt. If you haven't seen the first video, link in the description. This number 2 video is about my trip through the southern part of Egypt, my cruise from Aswan to Luxor. Now, I flew from Cairo to Aswan, and it was just over an hour flight. Very easy. The flight was very early in the morning, and I got picked up at my hotel the next morning by my guide. I was taken on a tour to Philae Temple, which is a temple to Isis, and then onto the ship. To make it a little bit cheaper and a little bit longer, you could take the train from Cairo to Aswan, but it would be an overnight train, and it takes, I think, 13 hours. I was not up for that, so I did pay for the flight. And so I had a day to just kind of relax in Aswan. It wasn't anything like the Marriott Mina House, though. Just saying, but I was only there for overnight. It was just a filler until I got picked up to go on my cruise on my dahabeah. So I will be popping in every now and again during the video, but basically, this is my cruise. I was just picked up at my hotel by my guide Hussein. And we are headed to a temple to Isis. So after touring the Temple of Isis, we popped into a car with a driver, Hussein and I, and started driving to drop me off at the cruise ship, which is not really a cruise ship. It's more like a luxury yacht. Dahabiyas are small ships, more like yachts, and they have been used on the Nile River to travel up and down for centuries. In fact, Cleopatra herself probably traveled up and down the Nile on a dahabiya. So I feel a little bit like Cleopatra myself. Anyhow, they have sails, and I guess the Nile River is quite windy at times. Who knew? Normally, the dahabiya, which are acting as cruise vessels with foreign guests aboard, they normally have a diesel-powered companion boat with them, and mine did. I think I got one picture of it, but not sure. Anyhow, this is day one aboard my dahabiya, the cruise ship that I was on for 3 nights and 4 days. Loved it. Link in the description to the Aqua. That was the name of it. All right, after much driving around, we have found the cruise ship. And it's brutally hot out. But here it is. Oh my gosh. It looks very nice. Hello.
Hello, Jennifer.
Yes.
Welcome to the Aswan.
Thank
Please
you.
have a seat.
Thanks.
Look what check.
Oh my gosh. I am on the second floor and I am cabin 1. Come with me. So I come in and this is my bathroom area. Oops. A shower, stand up with the rain shower head, all amenities, and the toilet is separate and quite large. We're on a boat, like for real. Whoops. A huge big mirror. Gorgeous sink, more amenities. Water, thank goodness. And all of the things if you forgot. And coming out of my bathroom, we have a control center here. And stepping around the corner, this is my coffee bar. Everything is free and it's replenished every morning. And the mini bar is full of soft drinks and water and juice. Again, free and replenished every morning. And I have a very large closet with robes and extra pillows. And these are memory foam pillows. And right beside it, another very large closet with a hairdryer and a laundry bag, so yay, and life jackets. And now the pièce de résistance, my bedroom. That was just like in the hallway leading to my bedroom in my cabin. on the dahabeah. Big window and a king-size bed, I guess, facing said window. And that large black glass panel, that's actually my television. And beside the bed is a telephone and lighting and switches for lights and actually the blind too. Well, oh, there, I got it to go. What? I've just put myself into darkness. Yeah. And back. Oh, I'm very happy. I'm very happy, and I'm just going to, I think, have a little rest here, settle in, unpack, maybe take a shower, and lunch. They gave me a whole itinerary. The itinerary is that we get here and do Aswan visits from 8 until noon. And I have done that with my guide, Hussein, who is not coming on the ship. He's going to meet me at our first stop today, because at noon we start sailing for Kom Ombo, which is the crocodile temple. And at 12:30, lunch is served upstairs on the second floor inside because it's so hot, and it is so very hot. So it's 11:30 now, and I have basically an hour until lunch is served, which means an hour of rest. From 2:30 until 4, we are visiting the temple of Kom Ombo, and then we come back on board and we have tea time. And then we sail to an island that I cannot pronounce, and we will have a welcome cocktail on the island. And then a Nubian-themed dinner on the island in firelight on the shores of this little island, which sounds fabulous. And we have an elevator. Yay! So lunch to begin with is an amuse-bouche, and then I chose a beetroot salad and grilled sea bream and a cheese plate. Day one, my first afternoon on my cruise on the dahabeah Aqua. And we've just had lunch and are cruising down the River Nile to our first stop, which is going to be the Temple of Kom Ombo. My guide is going to meet us there, and we're underway and I can't feel a thing. Like, it's a small boat, but the Nile is quite calm, and we're traveling at a good rate of speed. And it's just like we're gliding. It's like we're gliding through the water. It's stunning. Anyhow, it's still hot as heck. I'd say it's probably about 35 degrees Celsius. Even with the breeze up here on the deck, it is still freaking hot. But I'm just gonna sit up here, have a cool drink. The service is hands down excellent, and try to enjoy, the journey. We've arrived at Kom Ombo, and my guide Hussein met us here, and we're just entering the complex now.
And here should be the pylon, the entrance, the main entrance. And that's the open courtyard, the Roman part. Ancient people, when they start to build, they go from inside to outside. On the left side, we can see the knowledge god, Thoth. He's a god Thoth. And then we can see the goddess Nut. And then we can see the king himself. And then the goddess Isis.
Photographer now in Hussein, and he's pointing out that each of the entrances to come towards the most holy place is higher than the other, so that you have to go down, down, down until you get. And I guess this is. All right, I'm in the Crocodile Museum, and there are like huge numbers of crocodiles, mummified crocodiles, on display, and the museum is right next to the temple. And of course there are no selfie sticks or flashes available, but I could bring my camera, and so here I am. When we come back on the ship after going to one of the temples, someone meets us with these beautiful cooling towels. They're wet and they're cold and they smell wonderful. And it's a lifesaver, as well as a little glass of fresh pressed juice. This is mango and something. Hussein is now going to meet me in 2 days in Luxor. So tomorrow is a day off for me. I get a rest day. And I think I could use one. I definitely could use one. It's hot as heck out, and I'm really feeling it. So for tomorrow, I don't have any obligations, and I will have a relaxing day. It's our first night on the cruise on the ship, and our dinner is actually set out for us on an island in the middle of the Nile, and it is simply stunning. I can hardly wait. I've only counted 13 of us, 13 guests on the ship, and I think there are an equal number of staff. Day 2 on my cruise was a rest day for me, because the rest of the guests on the boat were all going with their various guides to visit a temple on the shore that was not included in the package that I bought. And so my guide was not going to meet me. I could have gone to visit this temple, but I really felt that I needed the rest day. And so I just sort of partook of all the pleasures of the cruise vessel and ate some great food, splashed around in the plunge pool, and waited to go through the locks at Aswan. I am off to the plunge pool. It's a hot day, but today is my rest day, and I think it's perfect timing to hit the little pool. It's not a warm water pool, it's not a hot tub. It's cool water, so I think it should be quite nice. Come along.
Everything's good?
Yes, wonderful. to say that the Whirling Dervish was amazing, and the performance went on for much longer than I'm showing you in the previous video. Like it was quite the performance, and he was amazing. And afterwards he let several guests get up and try his costume on, and they said it was super heavy and they could not get it to twirl like he did. It was really cool, I have to say, really cool. And he was not one bit dizzy. All of the other guests who tried, and they twirled around like maybe 5 or 6 times, they were like, you know, a little off balance. And we're on a ship, right? Anyhow, I was very impressed by the whirling dervish. He was amazing. This next part is sort of me on my own on the 3rd day on the cruise, and I don't spend a lot of time on the ship. This is a busy, busy day. And also one of the high points of my trip to Egypt, because I take a hot air balloon ride over the Valley of the Kings. And this, I paid extra for. It was $110 US. So much worth it. And I'm anxious around heights. I'm not going to say that I'm terrified of heights. I'm anxious around heights. They're not my favorite thing. So I was feeling anxious, but worth it. Worth it. I am up at the break of, well, it's 4:30 in the morning. And I am up so early because I want to go and see the Valley of the Kings from a hot air balloon and see it at sunrise. I guess I'm the only one on my ship who is going to be doing this, because I'm all alone, and the concierge just told me that a boat will be coming to pick me up from our boat, which is, we appear to be moored alongside a couple other boats, and I guess we're in Luxor already. We traveled during the night. So I didn't sleep a lot because I'm really nervous and also really excited. But I'm on the lookout for a boat on the Nile coming towards this boat. Good morning. So apparently this is going to be a 16-person balloon, and this company has 7 different balloons at this location. They're one of the largest, and it looks like we have 9 people now, including me. Maybe 10. So I guess they'd prefer to have all 16 of us. And he just described, this is the manager, I guess, of the balloons. He came over and described the whole process to me. And we're going to be up there for between 45 and 75 minutes, depending on the wind. And they will come and get us wherever we land, except for the river, because he doesn't swim. And I think that that was a joke.
the right side.
I'm floating.
Widzisz tam, na przykład przed pan to przed chwilą odsiał sód?
We're the highest balloon of all of our balloons here. All the rest are below us. We've arrived at the Valley of the Kings.
أحد جاي من النهارده لحد هيك عبيته فلوس ولا لسه؟ ما الفلوس قال الشوايل ده.
Thank you.
Let's go. بعد فل مدير. يلا VIP.
Okay, thank you. Taking the free little transport up to our first tomb. Valley of the Kings. This is the tomb of Ramses IV. And I can't use a flash, but I can have my gimbal. Yay. Holy. And my guide was saying he's not allowed to come into the tombs with me. So he gave me a talk before I came in about what to expect. And holy, I'm just, hang on. painted and with cartouches of Ramses IV and pictures of the afterlife and instructions. The snakes, the cobras, there are a lot of them in here and they are for protection. Go figure. Next is Ramses IX. This is apparently the second best preserved tomb in all of Valley of the Kings. And it's quite a bit longer and larger than the previous tomb. He isn't very tall. I would put him at maybe 5.5 feet tall, maybe. Now I'm coming over to the place where he was found, where his sarcophagus is. I'll turn you around. This is the interior of the sarcophagus room. Very bright colors. And there is the sarcophagus right in the middle. It is quite huge. It's got to weigh tons. My poor knees. It's really, really hot. Okay, so I have been going since like 4:30 that morning until, the climbing out of King Tut's tomb. And I did not finish all the tomb tours. I had one more tomb that I had a ticket to visit, and I just couldn't make myself. It was so hot and I was so tired. And so I just told Hussein, I'm going to skip the last tomb. We're done. Let's just go and see Queen Hatshepsut's mortuary, her temple, and we'll call it a day, because I was rapidly declining. I was just so exhausted. I can't tell you how hot it was and how much it just sucked the energy out of you. I'm so happy that I did the balloon ride like early in the morning when it was beautiful. The temperature, the weather was beautiful. But touring Valley of the Kings in all of that heat just really hit me hard. And so we go to Queen Hatshepsut's temple, and I just look at the long walkway up there. And I told poor Hussein, who is just full of information and full of enthusiasm as a guide, I just tell him that I'm not walking all the way up there. Can't be done. And so I just took a few very disappointing pictures from far away, and then we went and sat, and he bought me a water. and chatted, and he told me as much as he could about the temple. He was a great guide, Hussein, but I could tell that he was disappointed that I didn't want to walk all the way up to Queen Hatshepsut's temple. I couldn't. And I mean, it's my trip, so we didn't go. I feel a little bit disappointed now, but I just remember how hot and exhausted I was. There she is. Hussein, I'm not going to walk up there. I'm telling you right now.
That's all right.
Not in this heat. We finished at Hatshepsut's temple very quickly and headed back on the boat. And then we had a wonderful last evening on the ship. And the waiters or the staff, they dressed up in pharaoh uniforms. It was quite cute. But the thing that I have to tell you is that we got back from Queen Hatshepsut's temple at around noon or 12:30. The schedule was that I was supposed to eat lunch, and then we would head out that afternoon to see Luxor temple and the temple at Karnak that afternoon to finish off our day, sort of thing. There was no way I was going to be able to do that. And so I asked Hussein, and he agreed that we would be able to do Luxor temple and Karnak temple in the morning, the next morning. And then he would drop me off at my hotel in Luxor as a finish of the trip. Thank you, Hussein. Super cute entertainment from, I think it was a group, a local dance troupe or a local entertainment group. They were really fun. And of course, they also got other guests up dancing with them, doing with the lit veils and capes and everything. It was very, very cool. And as it was the final night, staff also brought out a cake and clapped for us all, the guests. It was a little bit emotional because you get to know the crew and they get to know you. And as I said, they all knew our names on the first day. I was always called Miss Jennifer, Miss Jennifer, Miss Jennifer. And it was really a nice finish to just a beautiful cruise down the Nile. I loved the Aqua. I would really recommend doing a dahabeeyah instead of one of the larger cruise ships if you can afford it. It is a little more expensive. Anyhow, on to the next day and my tour of Luxor Temple and Karnak Temple with my guide Hussein, and then he drops me off at my final destination, the Hilton Luxor. Well, last morning aboard my cruise on the dahabeeyah Aqua, I just finished breakfast and my guide is picking me up in one of those water taxi things at 8 a.m. We will be touring Luxor and Karnak this morning, and then he will drop me off at my last port of call, the Hilton in Luxor, where I get basically a day off. A rest day until flying back to Cairo. Hopefully it is not as hot today as it was yesterday, because yesterday just wasted me. I've really loved staying on the Aqua. The service level has just been 100%. Days have been beautiful, nights gorgeous, lots of air conditioning, an elevator, yay for my knees. And just can't say anything bad about my trip so far. This has been vacation of a lifetime, truly an epic 60th birthday celebration, adventure, and I think today is basically my last day of it. Hopefully not too adventurous, just really nice. Well, here is my chariot, my limousine.
In front of Luxor tomb. As I told you before, ancient people, they start to build from inside to outside. So inside is older than outside. Inside 18th dynasty, but outside is 19th dynasty. The outside area back to the king Ramesses II. And that's the facade of the temple. You can see about 6 statues for the king Ramesses. We have 2 and 2 for the same king standing, and we have 2 in the middle for the same king sitting.
So we're walking down the pathway to the holiest area.
So these 2 statues for King Tutankhamun and his wife, and 1 for the god Anwar and his wife from lands celebrating that
Karnak. I have quite the ways to go still, but this is a huge, huge temple complex. Almost every pharaoh in every dynasty added one thing to Karnak. That's why it's so famous. dead tired after that, but I have to say that the temple at Karnak is just amazing. I don't think that my videos really do it justice. And the amount of information that I was being inundated with by Hussein, because Karnak is so large and it has a donation, a building or some sort of structure from almost every pharaoh from each dynasty. So there's so much to talk about, so much to see, and it was very crowded. And again, I know I go on about this, it was very hot. I was there in early September 2025, very hot. It was amazing, and I would go back there in a heartbeat just to see more of the stuff that I think that I missed or that I didn't fully appreciate the first time, because just putting this video together, I was like, oh, I should have, could have, would have, I should have. And I'm still thinking that now, just talking to you like this. But yeah, in all, this is the end of my Egypt trip, my epic 60th birthday adventure to Egypt. And it was all of it. It was everything. It was everything that I had imagined, everything I had planned, everything that I wanted. I didn't skip anything. It was just perfect. And I can't say enough about Egypt as a country, the people that I met, my guides, drivers, the crew, everybody was just wonderful. Loved the food. I was treated excellently, fed until I was bursting. Just amazing. I'm so pleased with the trip in itself. And here's just a last little look at the Luxor Hilton, which I would recommend. Thumbs up, absolutely. Link in the description, as sort of a wind down before I had to fly back to Cairo and then home. Well, here's my room at the Hilton Luxor, the bathroom. Very nice. Oh, gorgeous stand-up shower. Very nice. All amenities. And I've already moved in, unpacked a little bit, but it's a king bed. Nice television. Beautiful decor. But this is what I wanted. Yeah, that's the Nile. And that would be the pool on the Nile. I don't want to leave Egypt, but it is time. Off to Cairo tomorrow and home the next day.